You're listening to the Learn English Through Football podcast. Hello everyone. I hope you are doing well and that you are enjoying all the football. My name is Damien and I am one half of the Learn English Through Football team. And I'm based here in London where the sun is out and spring is definitely coming. How about where you are, listeners? What's the weather like for you? Now, it's just me this week as Damon, the other member of the Learn English Through Football team, is busy, but we will be hearing from him early next week with a new weekly football expression. And this week's football expression was too good to go down, in reference to my favourite team, Tottenham. You can listen back to that one by coming along to our site or by subscribing to our weekly podcasts.
You're listening to the Learn English Through Football podcast.
Right, on today's show, we are going to look back at some language from the Champions League playoff second leg game between Juventus and Galatasaray. In fact, we will be looking at two different phrases: hold off a fight back, and a typical phrase used by commentators, 3-0 on the night and 5-5 on aggregate. This week there are some huge derbies taking place around Europe, and we will feature 4 of them in our predictions. Sevilla take on City rivals Betis on Sunday in La Liga. Premier League leaders Arsenal host Chelsea. Rangers and Celtic face each other in the Old Firm derby in Scotland. And on Saturday, Borussia Dortmund, in second place in the Bundesliga, host the leaders Bayern Munich in Der Klassiker.
languagecaster.com.
Thank you for that message, which was in Bemba, a Zambian speaker. And yes, you are listening to the Learn English Through Football podcast, or as we used to be known, languagecaster.com. We will have more of these messages, or stingers, throughout the show, so try and see how many you can recognize. And we'd love to hear from more football fans around the world. So it would be great if you could send us your message in your language saying, you are listening to the Learn English Through Football podcast. Record it and send it to contact@learnenglishthroughfootball.com. Okay, here's the next message. What language do you think it is?
Merhaba beyler, ben Türkiye'den Mert. Şu anda Language Caster dinliyorsunuz. Sevgiler.
Victor Osimhen and Baris Yilmaz scored in extra time as Galatasaray held off a fight back from 10-man Juventus to reach the last 16 of the Champions League. This was how the BBC reported on the dramatic Champions League playoff second leg tie between Juventus and Galatasaray that took place earlier this week. In the first leg of this match, Galatasaray beat Juventus 5-2 and looked strong favourites to qualify for the last 16. But Juventus scored 3 times in the second leg to level the tie in an amazing comeback or fight back. But the Turkish side scored 2 late goals in extra time to win the game. They held on to win the game, which means that although they were under pressure, they still managed to win. To hold on for the win or to hold on for the draw are quite common expressions to describe this kind of situation. To hold off means to resist something or someone. So, for example, to hold off an opponent means that the opponent cannot get through or past a defender. To hold off a fight back means that despite one of the teams making a comeback or fight back, the other team still managed to get a successful result. So, we know that Galatasaray held on for the win despite the Italian side's strong fight back, and this is where we can see the phrase held off a fight back. Galatasaray held off the Juventus fight back to qualify for the last 16.
State ascoltando languagecaster.com.
3-0 on the night and 5-5 on aggregate. The next phrase taken from the match is often used by commentators and journalists to describe how the second leg of a knockout round has affected the whole tie. It explains the total scores of the two legs. Let's look at the first part, 3-0 on the night. And this means that one team is winning the second leg or return leg by 3-0. But what does 3-0 mean in the overall context of the tie? And this is where the second part of the phrase helps out. 5-5 on aggregate, which means that even though one team is winning 3-0, when we add together the score from the first leg, we can see that it is now 5-5 in total or on aggregate. To aggregate something is to add things together. So Galatasaray won the first leg 5-2, and then Juventus were winning 3-0 at the end of 90 minutes in the second leg, meaning the game had to go to extra time as the teams were level 5-5 on aggregate. Of course, the game finished 3-2 on the night and 5-7 on aggregate, which meant Galatasaray qualified for the next round, where they will face Liverpool.
皆さんは languagecaster.com を聞いています。
Do you know any other phrases connected to the expressions we have used today? Or maybe you know some in other languages. If you do, then drop us a line at contact@learnenglishthroughfootball.com.
Sie hören gerade languagecaster.com.
Right, next up we have our predictions, and this week we have 4 big derbies. Okay, let's start with Der Klassiker in Germany between the top 2 teams in the league. That's Borussia Dortmund against Bayern Munich. Dortmund have only lost 1 game all season, but still find themselves 8 points behind leaders Bayern. I think the gap at the top will be 11 at the end of the game. An easy 2-0 win for Bayern Munich. Now, the big game in Spain this week is the Seville derby between Sevilla and Betis. Sevilla are starting to find a little bit of form, but they face city rivals Betis, who are 5th in La Liga. I think this will be a draw, 1-1. Now, in the Premier League, Arsenal played Chelsea. Of course, Arsenal had a great win last week against another of their London rivals, Spurs. Ouch. And I think they will also win this. I think they might easily beat Chelsea, maybe 3-1 to the Gunners. And finally, we return to Scotland and to the Old Firm derby. That's Rangers versus Celtic. Both teams are still behind leaders Hearts, who would love this game to finish in a draw. And that's what I think will happen. 2-2.
Hola a todos. Estáis escuchando languagecaster.com.
Okay, those are our predictions. And listeners, why don't you practice your predictions language with us? What do you think will happen in any games that you are watching this week, or the ones that we have talked about? Let us know by coming along to our site or on any of our social media sites. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, Instagram, and many more. And remember, our website has a huge glossary of football terms with hundreds of expressions, phrases, and cliches about the beautiful game of football. And we have a new page with lots of our weekly football expressions from the past 20 years. We are constantly updating our site. Let us know what you think. And of course, tell all your friends about us and give us a like on your favorite podcast and social media platforms.
Vous écoutez languagecaster.com.
Yes, that message was in French, and well done if you got that right. We have also heard messages in Bemba from Zambia, Turkish, German, Japanese, and Italian.
Hi, my name's Izzy. I'm a fan of Dulwich Hamlets FC, and you're listening to languagecaster.com.
Right, let's take a quick look at some of the words and phrases from this week's show. Hold off a fight back and 3-0 on the night and 5-5 on aggregate. Try and listen out for these expressions in any language over the next few weeks. Thanks for listening. Enjoy all the football this weekend. I'm off to watch Dulwich Hamlet play Chichester in the Isthmian Premier League, which is the 7th tier of English football. And we'll be back with another football expression early next week. Bye-bye.